Cool.
Yes. Oh,
Finally works.
good. We're live. Thank you, Marwan. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Okay. Marwan.
Hello.
Hi. Okay. So let's get started with all these technical difficulties. It's a bit late, but we can definitely cover some content still. So this webinar is about getting from, we are talking about the C.O.V.I.D model. The C.O.V.I.D model is something that we created that is it's a tool for personal development, and it starts with your current state, where you are at now, and it's focused on getting to a desired state, which is where you aim to be, and you go there with intention. We already covered the O, the V, and like the O is observe, which is when you are, I'm not explaining it properly. Sorry,
take
all
a
the problems just like got me a bit off center. So let's recap.
We breathe for a second, and we look again at this paper. So that we have seen a couple of times already. And what you started explaining was about the C.O.V.I.D model, and the first, what was it, two webinars about this model was about observation and visualization.
Yeah.
And what that basically means or is, we're like in the observation phase, you were focusing on just really bluntly what is going on around me, where is stuff, what can I look at, what can I observe, but also we focus in that webinar on your body. So basically how you're feeling in like the position you are in your body posture, anything around that related to that. So just that you feel what the current state is like at the moment. So with that in mind, we went on to the next step, to the visualization part. And in this visualization part, we let the viewer or let you create something you looked forward to, something you wanted to create for yourself. We did that in like a meditation sort of visualization part, so you really settle down and think about the future you were trying to create for yourself. And so that was super powerful because you basically sort of create this tree at the end of the field that you want to go or want to move forward to. And now in the last part, which is basically interact part, is, okay, how can you interact with your environment, with yourself, to get towards your desired outcome, to your tree or whatever you created there. And so yeah, basically that's today's most important part, and we want to do that by giving you tools and a model, actually, again, like a short, tiny one, so you can apply that in the best way and make it easy and yeah, good for yourself.
Okay, good.
You're back.
I'm back. So yes, the interact part is more about okay, how can we take visualization, observation, and put it down to today? So today we can take action to achieve that goal that we have in the future. So as we already say, like we always say in the beginning of the webinars, it's good if you have some pen and paper. Today we're going to go through quite some interesting stuff that are not only useful for this model or for this stage, but actually for every task in your life. So if you want to take some notes, then this is a good time to do it. And also we will do probably a bit shorter version because we started a bit late. But we will have about 35 minutes of content, and then we have 10-15 minutes of questions if you have any. So
okay, but that, I guess we wanted to change up a bit because we have, as you can see, like we have sort of a delay. So we now just saw results comment coming in. So there's like 30 seconds delay. So it's really hard to then completely go on Q&A. So whenever a question arises or you want to say something, just really write it in the comments, and so we can then reply as soon as it suits and as soon as like we think it fits, or we just like do it immediately, so that you get the answers pretty quickly.
Yeah, there's a huge delay in this Facebook chat. That's why we're trying to figure it out. So
and
yeah,
awesome that you're joining all. So
yes,
really
thank you.
Cool that you stayed with us, and thanks to Jewel and the other people, Christian and Warren.
Well, we don't see more people, but it is
thank you.
It's great to see you there. Okay, so I'm Carolina. He's Julian.
Thanks. Yes, I'm Julian.
Yes, let's do things right, okay? So we always start the webinars with a wake-up ritual. So this is just to get on the same page and to basically for us to relax a little bit, to get centered. We really need it today because it was crazy, but it's just to sync with you. So we can. Do you want to do it?
No, this time it's yours.
My turn. Okay. So what we will do first is going to take a deep breath, and when we are with our lungs full, then we hold it, and then we let it go. So we will do this 3 times. Okay, let's do it together. Hold it. Let go. One more. Hold it. Let go. And one last time. Hold it. Let go. Okay. Now we will move our shoulders. We will do a circle, and we go to the front, then we go up, back, down. So front, up, back, down, front, up, back, down, front, up, back, down. Good. Now we do it the other way around. We do it back, up, front, down, back, up, front, down, back, up, front, down. Good. We move it a little bit. Shake it off if it's stiff. If you've been on your computer for too long and you feel your shoulders a bit weird, you can move it. Do any movement that feels right. And now we will move our heads a little bit so we get the blood flowing. So we will make small circles one way and the other. And if this is not a fit for you, then you can just move your head any way that you find suitable. So 3 circles on one side and 3 on the other.
And whatever speed you.
Oh yeah, I'm super fast. Yes, I tend to go like a ventilator. Ventilator fan. It's a fan. Okay. Good.
All right.
We arrived.
We hope you too. So now we are going to start with our interaction part. Mm-hmm. What do we want to create with this interaction part of the C.O.V.I.D model? And I saw one comment was saying like COVID-19. Yeah, it's a funny wordplay that is just come out of this, but it's like the C.O.V.I.D model describes those part, and it's basically a coaching model that we just use now to get from your current state into desired state that you would like to get. And so this is the interaction part and the I part, and we basically center it around now being in the present, mm-hmm. and wanting to go in a direction. And with this interaction part is like we set a plan, something solid, something you can execute on to move forward to realizing the desired state you would like to be in.
Good. Yes. So what we do here is basically taking observing and visualizing and just smashing them together. And for today's webinar, we would like you to choose a topic that you would like to work on. And this can be something that either if you did other webinars that you might have already on your mind, like a topic that you're actively working on. It can be like, for example, building up a skill, or I don't know, like just getting better at something, like building up a personality trait, being more friendly, I don't know, things like that. And if you have that already, you can use that. And if you don't, then you can think of something that you would like to work on. And this can be something good that you, for example, you would like to become better at dancing, cooking, doing yoga, whatever it is. It can be something like that, or it can be also like, for example, this is an example that I would choose, doing my taxes. Like how can I motivate myself, or how can I interact with the environment to actually get myself to do that without procrastinating and trying to run away from it. So it can be something good that it's like you're highly motivated to do it, or it can be something that you are struggling to do right now. So this is like basically applicable to every scope of task, project, or just like idea that you have, intention that you have. And just choose one. We will give you a minute to think about it, and maybe you can write it down so you can just remember it throughout and try to apply these practical tools that we give to your own specific case. And if you can write it also in the chat, so then we can read it and actually use it as an example when we are talking about different topics.
That would be perfect. So we can really customize to the needs that you have and give you those examples that really help you. So just take a moment and think what you would like to improve, what you would like to either develop in, or it's basically all development. So basically what you want to develop in. Can be something you don't like at the moment, or something you just want to get better at and improve. So you can choose. But we would really appreciate if you write something in the comments, so we can adjust that for you and give you like the customized experience.
Yeah. Good.
So we just wait for the delay to come in.
Yeah, we can start, because like this, we will apply it in the practical part. Like this is not yet that. So then we can start telling you a little bit about how we proceed with different, how we approach different tasks or projects. And to make it extra easier for you, we created a 3-step process that's called APE. It's like ape, like monkey, like the thingy. And it's A, P, and E. A stands for attitude. Oh my God. Attitude. Then P starts for planning, and E stands for execution. So it is, first you revise your attitude, like how are you approaching this project, this situation, whatever you chose to work on. Then it's the planning, okay, how do you want to go about it, like how would you like to start working on it, or just get going. And the execution is, well, actually not planning or thinking or feeling, is actually doing. So yeah, those are the 3 steps that we will go a bit more in detail now. And if you guys want to share any projects or anything, you're still on time. We can pick that up at any point, either in the first, the second, or the 3rd step. And if you don't want to share it because it's something that's sort of private, then you can just like say something similar that it's like not that is not emotionally charged. So yes. Do you want to start with attitude?
Yeah, I want to like also go a bit more in detail again. Okay, what attitude was? You made like a really nice description of like how you approach a topic, what you feel like when you think about a task of doing taxes, or when you think about the task of watching Netflix. Like there's probably a difference what you feel like when you hear those 2 different things you would like to do. And that's exactly where we want to work with in this part of the attitude part. And maybe a good way to visualize that, or like to keep that in mind, is really that the way you feel like pulled by something you wouldn't like to do, something something that puts you a smile on the face when you hear it, or something that's like, oh damn it, I don't want to do this, and you like almost you sink in and don't want to do this anymore. And so that's a good way to see what is your attitude towards a thing. And there's also another thing that is like the intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. That is also like sort of part of it. So the motivation is something like you are willing to do something, and then there's a part whether you want that to do that out of your own interest basically. When the goal really is just for your own interest, that when you see, okay, I want to watch Netflix because it makes me feel better, then it's like, oh yeah, it's your own interest, you would like to do that. But when basically you have to do your taxes, let's take that example again, it's not really in your interest to do that. Somebody else is telling you you have to do that, otherwise you get fined. So that's something, it's extrinsically motivated. It puts usually some weight on you. And then there's the other the part of intrinsic motivation that really can get you in when you feel like, oh, I can do that. When you maybe have a challenge ahead, but you think about it, oh, but I know I can overcome this, and I know I can solve this. And that's also like the part of attitude that we would like to inspire you for, like we would want to give you. It's like when you, for example, when you're then working on getting better in yoga, what you had as an example, there it is sometimes the case that you feel like, oh, I'm not going further, or I can't overcome this plateau right now. And there the attitude is really that you know you can. It's almost going into intention, but it's really that you try to keep in mind that it is possible, or that you think it is possible that you can do that. And that is really a huge part of this attitude, and why it is so important. Because when you don't think you can actually do it, well, you probably won't engage in it.
Yeah, and also like I think it's very important to say that the attitude, the intrinsic motivation, it's a really like potent, powerful driving force when you are like starting a project or doing something. And if you don't have it, like you can actually search for it within you. And it can be, for example, when you are thinking of doing yoga, and you do it because other people are doing it, or because your friend recommended it, or because I don't know, you think it's cool. And if you do it because of that, it's like a very weak reason Jesus, a weak reason to engage in it. But if you sort of go inward and say, okay, I do it because I actually feel a lot better when I'm doing yoga, or afterwards I feel relaxed, my body feels stronger, stuff like that, then that's more like feeling more intrinsic, more inside you. So you can achieve this in different projects. Like the project of getting better at yoga, it's easy because you can connect with that strength, that motivation, and it's relatively out there, like a hand's reach. But in other things, like for example, doing my taxes, then the motivation is like, where is it? Like, how can I get motivated to do that? And it's, well, since I have to do it, since I'm part of society and I have to do it, then I'll just get it over with. I'll just, I have to do it eventually. I have to do it at some point. And then the motivation is like, I just want to give myself peace of mind. I just want to get this over, and I will engage in this activity even though I dislike it, and just finish once and for all. So yeah, those are two examples, one for good and one for bad. But for your thing that you chose for today, just try to think, like, what is your attitude towards it? And how do you feel when you think about doing this thing? Is it Is it good? Is it a bit tense? Is it boring? Maybe you're bored when you think of just like, oh, I would like to eat healthier, but I don't want to cook. So then it's like, okay. Sometimes it's a complex thing, but if the attitude doesn't feel right, it doesn't. If you don't have like a good motivation, like it comes from the inside, then it's going to be really hard for you to engage in this activity. So just try to check that and see where you are.
And well, for now, nobody wrote something in comments for like the topic. So I just wanted to ask what is whether it's actually the case that you might not would like to change that, or would like to express that, or is it more that you don't know what we mean exactly? So do you need some clarification to actually pick something? So that would be super helpful if you let us know what exactly you need in order to write something in comment, or whether there are some restrictions that you feel like I don't want to do that. So yeah.
Good.
For now, I guess we just continue though.
Oh yeah, but I wouldn't say a quote on that. It's like a famous quote. I don't even remember from whom. It's like, you can do stuff like it's a great weight on you, or like it's part of the dance. So it's up to you to decide how you want to take, like whatever you have to do or whatever you want to do, how you want to take it and how you want to stand up in front of it. So yeah, it's just revising your attitude. Quote done. So that was the A on the ape. We can now move to the P, which is planning. And here in planning, we will talk a little bit about, okay, how can you approach the situation, like a couple of different approaches and things that you can do to actually get it in your head going, and then you can start acting. So, do you want to do it?
Mm-hmm. I think first of all, there is like two quite different things when you get into planning, because some people, when they already hear the word planning, it's like, but it like boxes me in and I don't want to do that super structured and strict, and that's a thing. Some people have that, and so it is not about that to completely say, okay, at this point in the day, at like 9 a.m. in the morning, I will do my taxes. Like it's really about just having in mind what exactly you would like and need to do. And there it is really like how you would like to go about this. So the approach maybe might be a better word for that. That you decide for yourself how you would like to go over developing the skill, doing this task, creating this project, whatever you have in mind. So it would be helpful if you write anything in the comments that we can use.
We can let that go.
And so there it's so then explain from my personal experience. For me, it is actually really helpful if I have this regular thing going on, routine, that I, for example, every morning do sort of the same thing and get into the same mood, so that I can be either creative or productive or something along those lines. And so for me, it's helpful if I set for me actually a specific time, then I make time around this, block before and afterwards some time, and then I just spend time on creating this project, doing this task or whatsoever. So that's like my personal experience. I really feel grateful when I afterwards get this done after I planned it. How about you?
Oh, me, I'm the opposite. I actually, if I plan things, I feel restricted. Unless I have too much on my schedule, then I need to schedule it for sure. But if I have some spare time, then I would like to, I usually like to act on inspiration. Like, for example, yoga. If I were to plan every day I need to do yoga at this time and for this long, then I would just not enjoy it, because I would be like, it's a task and it's like a duty. So for me, it's more like, okay, when I feel like it, I'll just engage in it. And I still need some sort of structure. Like, for example, for my taxes, we're going to beat that example to death because I need to figure it out for myself. And for example, that it would be like, I will set up a day, and within that day, I will dedicate an hour. Within, like, it can be at any point in the day when I feel like it. And if it's getting to the evening and I haven't done it, then I know that, like, for sure, like at 5 or 6, I need to start with that. So it is more flexible, like it's a flexible approach, but it's still sort of structured to a day. So yeah, those are the two approaches that I would usually take, like either completely free and act on inspiration, and whenever I feel like it, I'll just do it. And this is very useful for music, like if you're playing an instrument or singing or whatever, then it's good that you do it when you feel like you want to do it. Also for dancing, like anything artistic, it's more like...
Oh, but also like creating a project, for example. Like I figured or noticed every time you come or you have some inspiration, you come up with something, it is most of the time when you relax, either in the morning or maybe like I also had it often in the shower that like, oh, we want to talk about this thing next time, or this model came up, and like your brain is, when it's relaxed, it has like great ideas and can do a lot of those things. And so usually it might be then better to structure things that you dislike a bit. Your attitude is maybe not the best, so you have like really a set time. I'm gonna do it then, and then you have to do it. And the other thing is a bit better and easier usually because your brain is like in a better mood to be creative.
So yeah, when the planning stage is mostly deciding how you will go about it. So you just say, okay, I have this thing, I figured out my attitude towards it, like I feel motivated, I'll do it. When will I do it? And then you decide, like I will do it that day at this time, or I will do it someday on Sunday, sometime on Sunday, or I will do it sometime this week. Like you can be as structured or unstructured as you want, but you just have to set up sort of a time frame that you will act on it. So that brings us to the last part of this 3-step process, which is execute. And there's no mystery to execute. It's actually just like doing it. When you plan on doing something, actually doing it. And if you do it, you will realize that you're being reinforced. Like it's a nice feeling, not just to be doing it, but to complete that you set yourself up to do, because it increases your self-trust, and you feel good with yourself because you complete that task. Also, it's important to know that sometimes when we think of doing things in our brain, they take a proportion that it's like, oh, that's probably a lot of work, or that's probably really boring to do. And when we're actually doing it, it's not like that at all. So it's a great time when you're doing things to think and realize, was I imagining stuff before? Was I being exaggerated? Was I just not completely in tune with how the real feeling of doing this was? So yeah,
I actually have a recent example for that. Recently I had to do an exam, and due to Corona, we had to write an essay instead of doing an exam. And there it was really that I already started with that in mind. I need to write, I don't know, 1,000 words or something about this topic, and just like read through those articles and write something about this topic. And obviously my attitude towards it was like, generally don't like writing essays, so then doing this for this topic I'm not really interested in was like, damn, I'm gotta somehow put myself through this. But then the approach that I took, which was actually a common one for me, is like I really set super small goals, super small baby steps, that I just get this self-trust or self-efficacy, or it's sometimes called, to working for myself. So I started with just writing for like 10 minutes or something what comes up to my mind when I think about this topic. And that was everything I needed to do to be like happy to have achieved something for the day. And that's sometimes like, even though I know like I will do more, I still am able to trick my brain with that. Just like for the next 10 minutes, just write something that comes up to your mind. And with that, I actually, in the end, was surprised that I enjoyed the process of writing this essay, because I like created the structure for myself, because obviously I like a bit of those structures. And I enjoyed the writing process actually, because I just changed a bit the attitude. I wasn't in the mood of, oh fuck, now I need to write those, need to write like 1,000 words. But rather, oh, now I can just like write for 5 or 10 minutes something I enjoy about this topic. And that was it. So the important part of this is like super small baby steps to trick your brain a bit, to make it easier for you to start. Because afterwards, you usually end up doing more.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's what we were saying about the attitude. Like, that's the most important part. Like, when you approach a task and you're like, okay, let's get this going, or let's do this, and you are motivated to do it, you're super likely that you will complete that, at least that step that you set up to do. If you have it in in the back of your brain and just decide that maybe tomorrow, maybe the day past tomorrow, maybe next week, it's just like something that it's like lingering there, that it's floating around your brain space, and then it's just bothering you. So it's good when we have, okay, let's get this over with, like a nice attitude, a good motivation. Like probably it's better if it's coming from inside and not an outside source with a deadline or something. And then we can, okay, let's plan this, let's make this happen. You decide, you do it right now, you do it tomorrow, but just decide, commit to it, and then you execute the plan, and then ta-da, you did it. Beautiful.
Yeah, and there again, like really the part that the plan or the execution part can be super small. Just to maybe if you're having experiences of not being able to commit to your plans, of not being able to do even the cleaning your house what you planned for like a week, that you really start super small to build up this trust. Oh, I can do this, then I also can do the next thing, and so on. So that's a huge part, to start really small with execution and then grow once you trust yourself a lot more, because otherwise it can throw back and you don't want to start doing it again. Yeah, if you get a negative experience when starting a task, then you're less likely to do it again. So that's the problem. So that's why getting it done the first time is the best way to go. And by getting it done the first time, we mean just like a step or a part of it, or like a yoga 15-minute session, or like playing the guitar for 10 minutes. Stuff like that. It's a small step. It's not something huge, but if you do it and you enjoy it, then you might want to come back to it in the future. And remember really that feeling once you achieved something. Then maybe even like write it down how you feel when you got it done and when you made it, and then you can like source or take resources from that feeling and go on to the next one. And so really try to remember this and feel this moment when you got it done.
Good. So there's like a minute delay. So if you guys have any questions or would like us to go over a concept again, or would like to just say, okay, thank you, bye, then please do it now. And we will talk a little bit more. But the question will take some time to arrive, because they mail it in Facebook and then they have to post it. There's a guy in a bike that comes here and then we get it, and then that's how we receive the question, and then we can answer. So it's a long process.
Maybe now like still a short summary of like what we said, and you just post the questions whenever you feel like.
Yeah.
So this this webinar today was about interaction or integration of the observation and visualization of the first parts of the C.O.V.I.D model.
Wait.
So here we go. This part was the interaction part, and we started with the observation and the visualization part. And this is basically combining them. Like you figured out what your current state is, you created a vision for where you want to go, and now you execute that by figuring out your attitude towards it, by checking your plan, however that might look like. So it's really that you choose one. That's the most powerful one. And then you execute on it on your terms. So it might be like a loose model in this sense, but it's really important that you create it for yourself because you stick to it eventually. And so we split this interaction part now into those 3 different parts again to make it a lot easier to execute, into the attitude, into the planning part, and the execution.
Yeah.
You want to add something?
No.
Okay.
I'm giving you the word.
Yeah, and so then really the attitude, checking in for yourself. How do I feel when this task or this project is approaching you? And see what you can do maybe to adjust it or make it easier, make it more fun in some way, whatever it can be, or just eating chocolate while you do it, can be anything. And then the planning part is really about that you create an approach that suits you. Whether it is like super structured planning and you write down the tasks at the specific time whenever you want to do that, or it can be you figure out when the inspiration hits you and you just try to make that more likely. Can be in both directions. Yeah. And then the last part is making small baby steps towards that desired outcome, and then really just take action in any form that you think is helpful and you think you can do. And with that, you build the trust in yourself, the self-efficacy that you actually can do that, and just keep going.
Yeah, perfect. And this applies to everything. As we said in the beginning, it applies to something that you like and to something that you don't like. It's just it's a simple 3-step process. Check in with yourself. See, are you motivated? What is your attitude towards it? Then plan. How do you want to go about it? Sometimes you don't even need to plan. Sometimes you can just tackle it at that precise moment. And then go for it. Execute. Just act. So it's not like you need to learn a bunch of theory. It's just some steps that is good for you to keep in mind and interiorize. Is that a word?
Internalize.
Interiorize is more interior design. But internalize just the idea of checking in. Okay, what is your attitude towards this? And usually the attitude towards something, it's what stops you from doing it, because you think that it's boring, because you think that it's stupid, because you think that, I don't know, you're bad, that you suck at it. I don't know, stuff like that. Yeah. So if you fix your attitude, the rest will just fall into place. But just those are the main tips that we wanted to give you.
Yeah. And then also when you have your attitude clear, when you have sort of the direction also clear, then it is really just maybe sometimes it can be super helpful to just reach out to another person, to ask them, hey, what do you think about it? Just to reassure yourself, maybe to tell that another person, to make that also maybe a solid thing that you want to go after. And that could be any person in your surrounding that you trust, could be literally anyone. But also we want to also give you the opportunity, when you think you need some advice or some perspective or some help, or you want to rediscuss those topics, you can always contact us and reach out to us if you want any other feedback, perception, or perspective on things.
Exactly. So we didn't receive any questions, so we're assuming there aren't any. but just we will quickly go over what we will do next week. We will let you know if we will use Facebook Live, because we didn't have a great experience this time. But what we will do next week is more like a coaching session where you are your own coach. So we will give you tools for you to learn how to go to a process, like through a process. Okay, you want to work on this subject, so let's go bit by bit and let's do the whole C.O.V.I.D journey, like the your current state related to that subject. Then you observe it, then you visualize how you want to be or where you want to go, and then you integrate these two tools, like you're observing and visualizing, and you interact with your environment in a way that gets you closer to your desired state. So it's going to be a coaching session, this like around the C.O.V.I.D model, and after this session you will be able to apply this by yourself, for yourself. You will be able to be your own coach. So yeah, it's good if you have something that you want to work on, like that you can think this week and say, okay, next week I would like to work on my guitar skills or my public speaking skills, stuff like that. Or you can come up with it in the moment, like because that day you were feeling sad and then you would like to work on your emotional stability or something like that. It could also be like that. So yeah, that's for next week.
It's just checking whether there are other comments that we just didn't see, but apparently not. So that's for next week, as I just heard. And well, no, I don't really. Well, the only thing that I really would like to leave you with is something that it is a huge trial and error process. So if you never really did that super on purpose to develop something like that and followed such a model, it is really just, you need to check in for yourself. How did that work? How does this model fit you? It can also be that the whole process is just nothing for you. Mm-hmm. That you just feel like, oh, it doesn't feel right. Yeah. It's completely fine.
It's also a possibility.
Exactly. So just like we would really like to give you this notion with that you are sort of like the person that knows the most whether something works, whether it fits, and so really use that tool. Yeah. And
and adjust if needed. Like you don't have to take the whole thing. Like as we say it, we just suggest it. But any of the tools that we give, it has value by itself, and we didn't invent them. Like they've been around forever. Mm-hmm. They're like really big psychological theories. So yeah, if you can use any of those, then that's already a huge improvement. Like if you didn't have it before. So yeah, it's just like personalize it to your own style.
Yeah.
Good.
If you have any other question, you can literally always reach out to us, either Facebook, unboxyourself.co, any other source that you find us. And yeah, we're really happy that you joined, even though the first live stream broke in a way. So it's really awesome that you're still with us. Yeah. And we hope to help you with that. And so if you need anything else, let us know.
Okay. I guess we're
great.
Ending this.
Great.
Yeah, great. I guess we're ending this now. But yeah, great. Just probably Bernd, your message was sent 50 minutes ago.
Thank you too for listening and staying with us so long.
Listening.
It's great.
Yes. Thank you for joining the second attempt. Okay, then we're ending this and you know how to reach us. Have a great rest of your Sunday.
Bye.
Bye.